All right. Good day, everybody. Dear respected judges, committee, and my dear friends. Today, my name is Athifah, and I'm from Islamic University of Indonesia. Today, we're going to talk about the comparison between lecture only and lecture with focus group discussion. The objective here today is to compare and find preference between the two, and we see which one people like more, and the faculty members too. So the method we use is we use literature or data from previous researchers from 10 years back, and after that we use the keywords FGD lectures, medical curriculum, and so on and so forth. For the FGD itself, let me explain. The FGD is basically a group discussion where we talk about all these scenarios in mind, and then what we do is there is a group of about 10 people, and then in that 10 people there is secretary and leader, and then there's an instructor that will observe and guide us through the FGD. The lecture base is basically we listen to the explanation of lecturers, and we ask questions if needed. These are the countries that uses FGD are US, UK, and Indonesia. For the ones that use lectures only are India, China, and so on and so forth. For the Indonesia itself, we used to use lecture based, but then on 2001 we started using FGD. Because of the FGD implementation, there are higher student attendance. How? Because it uses, because if we don't attend these meetings, they will reduce our mark, and the reduction in note taking too, because we are already learning and reading, and we already understand the materials, the books, the journals that the teachers are going to use as reference in their presentation. And it increases also our knowledge because we're using interactive EBM, evidence-based medicine, where everything we say or convey should come from a specific book or journals. And the result we compare between the two actually, and the result shows that the preparation that is required is actually more in FGD. Why? Because we are asked to present, sorry, here, let me, because the preparation required is more in FGD because we need to explain to other friends and the teachers about what we're going to talk about that day. But in lecture base, we're only listening to the teachers. For the instructor's role, it's also more prominent in the lecture-based learning. The feedback we use more. The feedback is immediately after the FGD, and the efficiency of large groups, if we want to share it to the with more people, we use the lecture-based learning. There are more benefits like critical thinking, adaptability, and confidence that comes from having this FGD in our studies. And the conclusion is of why, how? Because the critical thinking itself, because we want. We are expected to answer the questions that come from our peers, and also the questions that come from our teachers. And not only that, but we're also asked to be critical in asking for questions, to make questions about these specific scenarios. So the conclusion is, of course, both has its own strengths and weaknesses, but FGD we found is more effective. Why? Because it uses student-centered learning, and not only do we learn from books by ourselves, but also we're learning from the teacher, the doctors, and we're learning from our friends that uses different books and journals. So we found that FGD is more effective than lecture-based learning. Thank you.
Very interesting. How many students per group in your FDG?
Right. In our university, we use 10 students in each group, 10 to 11. So the doctor can observe, mark us, and guide us along and correct us if we have any mistake, and we can have a more intimate discussion where everybody can understand each other's point of view from their books and journals.
Okay, and what year of the student? I mean, what year of the medical student?
Oh, we start using FGD from the first year until we graduate. Yeah,
Every
until
year.
not until we graduate, but before we start clinical rotations.
In clinical rotation.
In clinical rotations, also we use, but not as so. For example, in 1 week, we usually have 3 meetings of FGD, but then maybe in clinical rotations, because we have to have a lot of rotations, it is decreased, not as much as before.
Thank you very much. I was wondering, so the focus group discussion method for teaching has been implemented. Do you still have lectures? Is there a sweet spot in terms of lectures and focus group discussions for each year? Have you noticed?
Right. Of course. So the question is, do we still have lectures? Of course. In 1 year, we're going to have lectures first, and then foreign group discussion. So after the schedule of lectures, we're going to have it, or we're going to have foreign group discussion first, and then lectures regarding the same topic, or deepening of our understanding about that topic that we have not yet discussed. For example, the scenario is about hypertension. Then the lectures will explain us not about hypertension, but the things that follows, and the more so we can understand about it more.
For the SGD, sorry, thank you. Very interesting. FGD benefits. How did you actually assess that it did boost student engagement, foster communication and teamwork, increase learning, and improve critical thinking?
Right. So we've looked, of course, through the materials and the journals, and it's basically mostly from countries that have FGD in their curriculum. And people, students, and faculty members prefer it more because it increases the engagement between the students and lecturers, also the understanding between those people, and the not only that, but also the understanding for the material itself. And it increases the communication and teamwork skills. How? Because for the communication and teamwork skills, we meet each other every day. We communicate with each other. We talk about these materials. So when there is a group project or something else later on, we know each other so well. We can help each other, and the teamwork is there already. So it helps us build connections too with people. And the thing is, not this tutorial groups that I mentioned, 10 people, it's changing every year. So not only do, like, for example, if we only have lecture group, no, lecture only, we only know that one person beside us. But then if we use this FGD, we know everyone from the whole class, 200 people. Those people we get to know, and we get to know how they study, and so on and so forth. And so for the learning rate of students also, how do I know? Because if I only study for the lectures, I feel like, we only need to review the materials that she's going to teach. But if I want to if I want to go to FGD, I need to know the material so I can explain it well to others. And so it increases my learning before the meeting happens. And also the critical thinking, because we are asked to make questions, critical questions. And not only that, but we are also asked to answer the questions, not only make. Thank you. Any more questions?
It seems that you just evaluate only student engagement or satisfaction. Are there any assessment of academic performance between lecture based only and lecture plus FGD?
Well, there was this study that I have read, the journal. said during the COVID period, because they only have lectures only, the more students are like not coming through the meeting. They are in the Zoom meeting, but they're not active when the teacher is asking. They're not really responding, and they're only giving like black screens. But then when we use FGD, everyone should be having like their faces on there, and they need to talk with each other. That's why I thought maybe this also will um, create the difference between when we have FGD, it's more suitable for the learning of medicine. And it increases, oh sorry, also it increases their performance when later in the results of their exams, when it shows that when we implement this FGD, we understand more of the materials that is going to be tested later on in the exams.